Hello there, I'm Mr. Doodle and this is my doodle house. I'd like to give you a tour, so please come through. I've doodled everything in the house, all of the inside, all of the outside. I doodled this statue, which was very fun to doodle. I enjoyed that very much. Doodled all the floors, the ceilings and everything. Now if you come through, I'd like to show you the hallway. So inside here, I've called it Noah's Arcade Game because there's two of every animal, just like in Noah's Ark, but they're all chasing Pac-Man coins as if they're in an arcade game. It was quite difficult to think of lots of different animals to draw in here because I soon ran out of ideas and I had to start thinking hard about what other animals exist. But yeah, it was fun. And here is the staircase, which is all themed around heaven and hell. So all the flat surfaces are hell, and all the upright surfaces are heaven. So there's lots of devils and evil monsters and things on the flat surfaces, and lots of angels and happy little creatures on the upright surfaces. And that took a long time to do with the stairs. One of the longest parts, really, I think. And here we go. Up here is the landing, which I themed around Adam and Eve, and this is Adam and Eve just here, and this is their garden, the Garden of Eden, which has lots of different creatures and lots of different trees and things like that, bits of nature. But where the doodles began within this house was in here, in the bedroom. This is where the doodle virus began, just here. I doodled all of the bed and I doodled around and around the room, just like you can see in the time-lapse film that I made. The doodles began in here. There are lots of sleepy characters in here, lots of characters going to bed, lots of sleepy eyes, and everyone's feeling very relaxed and having happy dreams within this room. There's also lots of references within the house, like this. This is the girl with the pearl earring, or as I like to say, the girl with the doodle earring. And through here, you'll see the bathroom. This room took the longest in the entire house. Over 2,000 individual doodle tiles are within this bathroom. And it took a very long time to create. And also, all the doodles are themed around bathrooms and underwater themes. So there's lots of fish, like fish here, and people in the bath, and people showering, brushing their teeth, washing themselves, all sorts of things. Yeah, it's a fun room to create, and I'm proud of this room. I like it very much. Now, you can follow me to see where the doodles went next. So, as I was doodling here, I doodled all my way out into the landing, covered some of these bits, and you can see here the windows. These were all actually had to be covered by white sheets when I was creating the time-lapse video, because we didn't want any of the lights to come into the house and interfere with how the photos looked. So here is the cloud room. This room is a space where people can come in and just sit down and have a think and just relax, really. Lots of negative space within the clouds. It's one of 3 rooms that I've created consecutively that use different patterns within the room to show doodles in a slightly different way each time. So yeah, that was the next room that I created. And if you can see here, this is the computer room, which is all themed around technology. As I created this room, I sat down on the computer and I started typing away, and the doodles blasted out, and I was zapped by the doodle zap, and all the drawings spread around the room in a sort of matrix computer microchip format. That's how this room is supposed to look. It contains lots of imagery of robots and laptops and computers and things like that. Yeah, it was a fun room to do. They were all fun, really. I just had the best time of my life creating this house. It was such a joy. Through here is the splash room. This room was kind of inspired by painting a bigger splash, because I liked the idea of a splash of doodles on somehow, and lots of doodles in lots of splash forms can completely consume the room. So this is the third of those 3 rooms that I was talking about that shows doodles in a slightly different way in each space. To me, this room looks like the white space is more forward, more closer to you than the doodles. And it looks like you could step through these doodles into Doodleland, which I kind of like. They look like portals into Doodleland. Yeah, so what's next? This is the memories room. Now the memories room is full of memories of me as a child. So this is me, my parents holding me as a baby, and I'm doodling on my mother. And then I grow up a little bit and I start to doodle sketches everywhere. And then I take over this tunnel, which is in Shoreditch in London. And then I meet Mrs. Doodle, the love of my life, my wife. And then the plan is to doodle over the entire world, which is going to happen, whether we like it or not. So, another few references out here. American Gothic, a famous painting, and the Scream over there, which I quite like. And then the doodles came downstairs, which we've already discussed, but that's how the process was. The upstairs was completed first, and then the downstairs was completed secondly. And the doodles took over this hallway, all the different animals and things. And then that leads us to the kitchen, which is a bit of a space you need to get used to when you're in, because it's a large space and there's a lot of detail on the counter and all the drawers and everything like that. But this room is themed around food and the preparation of food. So there's lots of chef characters with spatulas and bowls of spaghetti, making pizzas, making burgers, making my favourite foods, which are all bad for me. And yeah, and there's a kettle here and a toaster, which we made doodle toast. This toast was actually created by Mrs. Doodle and then doodled on by me. Mrs. Doodle actually prepared most of the objects within the house in a white paint so that they could be doodled. And along with my Uncle Graham, who created the entire renovation of the house with his team to make it into a blank white canvas. This kitchen is one of the biggest rooms in the house, and I think it's a great space to absorb the doodles. Although we don't actually know whether any of these surfaces or items are workable after they've been doodled. So we're going to find that out in the future. We'll keep you posted. Now, if you come through here, you can see the dining room. Now, the dining room is also themed around food, but it's food and people eating food and the enjoyment of food. And it's also got a reference to the Last Supper up here, because originally the plan for this room was to recreate the Last Supper in doodle form all across this wall just here. But due to the way that I wanted to create time lapse and stop motion film that I was making, I wanted, instead of that long stretch of the Last Supper, I wanted to create a space where I come in with a cup of doodle and I splash it up a wall, splash it up this wall and splash it down here. And that just didn't fit with the Last Supper idea, so we went with that instead. And of course, a box of doodle flakes for you to enjoy if you're ever hungry. And finally is the living room. Now the living room is, I used a very large, thick pen for this room with the shape of a donut at the front, like a ring, and it created very thick, large doodles. And yeah, it was a joy to create that, and it creates a big, bold look for the doodles, which is unlike the other rooms because of the size and the scale of the doodles. So yeah, that's it really. Thank you so much for joining me on this tour. I really hope you guys enjoy the doodle house. I know that from your comments, a lot of people wouldn't like to live here because it might feel like it gives them a headache or a migraine or something, or make them feel dizzy, but really, I can tell you that for me and for Mrs. Doodle, it really doesn't, and we enjoy it very much. And yeah, we look forward to hearing what you think about this tour, and let us know. Thanks so much for watching. Have a doodly day!